A very warm welcome to this lecture on the structural features of modal and semi-modal verbs. In English, the modal verbs are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would and must. On the other hand, the semi-modal verbs are has to, have to, had to, ought to, need not, dare not, had better, would rather and used to. First of all, let me discuss the difference between modal and semi-modal verb. In this lecture, I will only discuss the structural difference between the two. In the next lecture, I will discuss the functional difference between the two. The structural difference between modal and semi-modal verbs is that modal verbs comprise only one word. All the modal verbs consist of only one word. Can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would and must. All of these consist of only one word. On the other hand, semi-modal verbs comprise more than one word. Has to, have to, had to, ought to, need not, dare not, had better, would rather and used to. The functional difference will be discussed in the next lecture. In this lecture, I will discuss the structural feature or features of modal and semi-modal verbs. That is, all of these, all the modal and all the semi-modal verbs are always followed by the base form of the verb, with the exception of two cases. We have only two exceptional cases where we have a variation. Otherwise, all the modal and all the semi-modal verbs are always followed by the base form of the verb. First of all, let me define and discuss what is the base form of the verb. The base form of the verb is the form of the verb without all the prefixes and suffixes. For example, have. It doesn't have any prefix or suffix. For example, it doesn't have ing, which is a suffix. It doesn't have to, which is a prefix. We can add all of these. We can derive all the other forms from this one. Hence, it is the base form of the verb. For example, we can add to and we will get to have. We can add ing, we will get having. We can add D, we will get had, the past form of the verb. Now, the point I want to discuss is all the modal and all the semi-modal verbs are always followed by the base form of the verb, with the exception of two cases. He would have it, irrespective of the subject, whether the subject is singular or plural, noun or pronoun. We will use have, the base form, with all the subjects. Even it doesn't affect the use of the base form of the verb if we have a negative or an interrogative sentence. For example, he would not have it, would he have it. Here we use have with he because of the use of would, because of the use of modal verb. We usually do not use have with he, we use has, but here we use have. This is because of the use of modal verb. Now I will discuss the two exceptional cases where we have a variation with semi-modal verbs. First one is would rather. Would rather can be followed by the base form of the verb or the past form of the verb. We have two possibilities after would rather. Would rather will be followed by the base form of the verb if it doesn't have another noun or pronoun after it. For example, she would rather join it. Here, after would rather, we doesn't have another noun or pronoun, so we will use join, which is the base form of the verb. Because we do not have any prefix or suffix with it, we can add all of these. We can add ing, joining. We can add s, joins. We can add ed, join. We can add to join. Here because we do not have any other noun or pronoun, any other subject after would rather, so we have used the base form of the verb. If we have another noun or pronoun after would rather, for example she would rather I, then we will use the second form of the verb, the past form of the verb, she would rather I joined it. In the next lecture I will discuss the second exceptional case with modal and semi-modal verbs where there is more than one possibility.